Thanks, Steve. That was great. So I think we're going to move right in and ask Chris Heffelbower to come up and talk with us a little bit. Chris has been working with Fight Colorectal Cancer and many other groups in getting the word out about colorectal cancer and what should be done for screening, how different groups should cover screening, all of those important things, even stemming into policy and discussions with some of our elected officials. Chris is a colon cancer survivor, and she'll share some of the insights from her own experience with colorectal cancer. So, Chris.
My name is Chris Heffelbower, and I'm a stage 4 colon cancer survivor. And thank you. And I'm also happy to report that I'm cancer-free, which is a miracle. I just want to tell a little bit about my story and then about why I advocate and why I believe advocacy is so important. I was diagnosed 2 years ago at the age of 37, and people often ask me, was there a family history? And there wasn't a family history. And the next question I get asked is, did you have symptoms? And I did have symptoms. In fact, I had symptoms for about a year before I was diagnosed. And I had issues with constipation and bloating. I was exhausted all the time. I got sick all the time. And you know what? I went to the doctor all the time. And they really blew me off. I got patted on the shoulder and told that I was a mom raising young kids and I should be tired. I got told that I probably had hemorrhoids or add some fiber to my diet. And, you know, my doctors were wrong. I finally went to my family doctor when I couldn't make it through the day. By 3 o'clock, I needed to take a nap. And every time I ate, I had horrible pain in my stomach. And my doctor did one simple blood test and said, you are very anemic, you're bleeding from somewhere. He did then a blood pressure test and said, I believe that you're bleeding from your colon. And I had a CT scan that day where they found a large mass in my colon. I still didn't think it was cancer. I just couldn't wrap my head around that. The next day I had a colonoscopy and they confirmed that it was cancer. I had a golf ball sized tumor in my colon. At that time, the CT scans didn't show any metastasis anywhere, so I thought it was caught really early. And in fact, in some ways, I was relieved to hear that, okay, now we know what's wrong with me. Now we can move forward and deal with this. My tune changed dramatically when 6 days later I had my surgery, and they found that the tumor had grown through the wall of my colon, and that it had in fact spread into my abdominal wall. And now I was a stage 4 colon cancer patient, which was very different than what I had thought. And it's scary. It's really scary to be told at the age of 37 that you have stage 4 colon cancer. And I was really embarrassed. I think it's okay for women to have breast cancer or ovarian cancer, but colon cancer, I knew nobody that had colon cancer. I thought old people and men got colon cancer. I had no idea that a young woman could get colon cancer. And there was a time where I thought maybe I shouldn't tell anybody. I didn't want to tell people that I had poop cancer. That it was tough, but I decided instead to just be really open about it. And I'm really glad that I chose that route. I had very, very aggressive treatment. Some of my doctors were at Mayo, who were just wonderful. I live in the Twin Cities. And I had multiple surgeries, and I had 6 months of chemo. My last surgery was kind of an innovative, newish surgery called HIPEC, where heated chemo was poured into my abdomen in the hopes that it would kill off any remaining cancer cells hanging out in my abdomen. So it took me about 6 months to recover from that surgery, but I really think it was a life-saving surgery for me. I spent a lot of time on the couch, a lot of time in hospital beds, and I had my computer with me, and I Googled my disease, which we all do, and which is actually probably a bad idea because you see a lot of scary statistics and a lot of grim stories, and that's what I was seeing over and over again. And then I found the Fight Colorectal Cancer website. And that website was just really different than the other ones that I had been on. It wasn't a bunch of scary statistics. It was about really empowering us survivors to, go out there and make a difference. And that really resonated with me, that I didn't have to be a victim of this disease, and I could hopefully help other people not go through what I went through. And because of that, I got involved with the organization, and I went out to Washington, D.C. last year with about 80 other survivors and caregivers and supporters, and it was really a wonderful experience. We went to all of our state congressmen and women up at Capitol Hill, and we advocated for increased funding for colorectal research. We advocated for some great legislation to help colonoscopies get paid in full by insurance companies, and some other great legislation. And it really did feel empowering that we were out there making a difference for others, and it was really, really wonderful. I also now I completely have really changed my career. There's I talk about before cancer and after cancer, and anyone who has had cancer knows what that is. And before cancer, I was an attorney, and I worked at 2 big firms here in the Twin Cities, and I represented employers with their employment law questions. And when I was diagnosed, I wasn't able to continue working, and I quit. And now I also work for a local organization called Cancer Legal Line, where we help other cancer survivors with their legal problems. So my whole life now is really advocating for others with cancer and advocating for myself. Why am I an advocate? It's because I am looking for colon cancer awareness, for prevention, and for a cure. We heard about prevention and how it's really possible to prevent most colorectal cancers, which is wonderful. And then there's a cure, which is, personally really important to me. I'd love for there to be a cure out there for colon cancer. And then the third, which I think is so important, is awareness. That my doctors shouldn't have brushed me off like they did. We need these doctors to know that colon cancer is real. It's not just hemorrhoids. And we need to get the word out to the public that we need to be asking our doctors and about colonoscopies and about colon health. It's, sometimes taking a fiber pill is not going to solve the problem. So it's so wonderful to be here in the Twins field today to really bring that awareness, I think, to a huge, huge group of people. I take my Bayer aspirin every day. Great research on that. And as I said, Mayo has been a huge part of my cancer journey. And thank you so much for being here, and go Twins!